What if I told you a $5 oil filter could destroy a $5,000 engine? And you'd never even know until it's too late. Most drivers think oil filters are all the same. A can with a hole on one side that you replace every few months, right? Wrong. Inside that metal shell is the one part responsible for keeping every drop of oil in your engine clean. And when it fails, your bearings, pistons, and cams grind themselves to death from the inside out. Here's the part nobody tells you. Many budget filters don't filter much at all. Some are built with cardboard end caps. Others bypass unfiltered oil straight into your engine just to keep pressure up. They look identical on the outside, but inside, one is protecting your car and the other is quietly killing it. In this video, we're cutting through the marketing and exposing the real difference between cheap and premium filters, what actually matters, and what's just brand hype. By the end, you'll know exactly which filters can save your engine, and which ones are nothing more than a metal can full of false promises. If you care about your car, hit subscribe right now, because this channel is all about uncovering the truth behind the parts that keep your engine alive. And trust me, once you see what's really inside these filters, you'll never buy the cheapest one again. Why the oil filter matters more than you think. Let's start with a simple truth. Your engine oil is only as good as the filter protecting it. Even if you pour in the most expensive full synthetic oil on the market, it's completely useless if your filter can't trap the microscopic debris circulating through your system. Every time you drive, your engine produces metal dust, carbon soot, and microscopic dirt that sneaks past seals and air filters. Those particles mix with your oil and circulate like liquid sandpaper, slowly wearing down bearings, camshafts, and piston rings. That's where the oil filter steps in. A good one captures contaminants as small as 20 microns, about a quarter of the width of a human hair, before they ever touch critical parts. But here's where things start to go wrong. Cheap filters often let anything smaller than 40 microns slip straight through. And when they clog or weaken under pressure, most engines switch into bypass mode, allowing unfiltered oil to circulate just to maintain flow. That means every second your filter fails, dirty oil is grinding down your engine from the inside out. It's easy to ignore because you'll never see the damage happen. The car still starts, it still runs, but every cold start, every hard acceleration, is quietly shaving years off your engine's life. That's why the oil filter isn't just a metal can you replace at service time. It's the only barrier between clean lubrication and catastrophic wear. And once you understand how it works, you'll never look at cheap filters the same way again. Inside an oil filter, what you're actually paying for. So, what are you really buying when you pay more for an oil filter? Because on the outside, they all look identical. Same size, same threads, same shiny metal shell. But inside is where the difference between cheap and premium becomes night and day. A basic oil filter has a few key parts: an outer shell to hold pressure, a filter media that traps dirt, a bypass valve that opens if the filter clogs, and an anti-drainback valve that keeps oil from draining out when the engine's off. Now, here's where things get interesting. Cheap filters use thin metal shells, cardboard end caps, and low-grade cellulose filter paper. They're fine for short oil changes, but they clog quickly, collapse under high pressure, and don't trap fine particles. Premium filters, on the other hand, use synthetic or microglass media, metal end caps, and silicone anti-drainback valves that stay flexible even in extreme temperatures. That's not marketing fluff, it's real engineering. A 2023 study by Automotive Research and Testing Labs found that synthetic media filters maintained over 99% efficiency at 20 microns, while cheap cellulose filters dropped to around 68% after just 3,000 miles. That means nearly a third of the dirt in your oil went straight through. And here's the kicker. Premium filters also have more surface area, so they last longer before clogging. You're not just paying for a brand name, you're paying for more filtration, more durability, and more protection for the one part of your car you can't afford to replace: the engine. The hidden danger: filter collapse and bypass mode. Here's something even many mechanics don't talk about: filter collapse. It sounds extreme, but it happens more often than you'd think, especially with bargain filters. Inside, every oil filter is a folded element made of paper or synthetic fibers. Under normal pressure, those pleats stay evenly spaced and filter oil as it passes through. But during cold starts, high RPM runs, or towing, when oil pressure spikes to 80 or even 100 psi, that thin paper can't handle the load. The pleats fold, flatten, and eventually collapse inward. When that happens, oil can't pass through properly, pressure builds, and the bypass valve opens. In seconds, your engine goes into emergency mode, circulating unfiltered oil just to stay alive. To the driver, nothing seems wrong. The oil light doesn't come on. But every second in bypass mode is like running sandpaper through your bearings. Project Farm and other independent testers have cut open dozens of filters after pressure testing. Some cheap ones, like low-end rebranded filters sold online, were literally crushed after just a few minutes at high temperature and pressure. Meanwhile, premium filters with metal-backed media, like WI-XXP or Mobile One Extended Performance, held their shape without any deformation. That single difference can mean an engine lasting 200,000 miles, or failing before it hits 100,000. So, the next time someone says a filter's just a filter, remember this. It's not about whether oil flows, it's about whether it flows clean. Because a filter that collapses under pressure doesn't protect your engine, it betrays it. Cheap versus expensive, what's actually inside? If you've ever wondered whether expensive oil filters are just brand hype, let's settle that once and for all. Because when you cut them open side by side, the truth is impossible to ignore. Independent mechanics and teardown channels have dissected dozens of popular filters. And what they found inside cheap ones will make you think twice before saving a few bucks. Many low-cost filters are rebranded generics, identical inside, just painted differently for marketing. They often use thin filter media, cardboard end caps, and rubber valves that harden after a few heat cycles. Some didn't even have consistent pleat spacing, meaning parts of the oil flowed almost unfiltered straight through the gaps. Meanwhile, premium filters from brands like WI, XXP, Mobile One, Bosch Distance Plus, and Purolator BOSS show a completely different story. Inside, you'll find metal end caps, microglass synthetic media, and reinforced pleats supported by a steel mesh. Their anti-drainback valves are made from heat-resistant silicone, designed to stay flexible for years of hot-cold cycling. Those details may sound small, but they're the difference between an engine that fires up instantly every morning and one that grinds itself dry for 2 seconds on startup. In side-by-side pressure and flow tests, high-end filters maintain stable oil pressure up to 150 degrees Fahrenheit and beyond, while cheap ones deformed or entered bypass mode early. So, are you paying for a logo? Not really. You're paying for engineering that lasts, materials that survive extreme heat, and consistency that keeps your engine alive long after the warranty expires. Because what's inside your filter isn't branding, it's insurance. How cold starts kill engines, and how filters save them. Here's a fact that surprises most people. Over 80% of all engine wear happens in the first few seconds after you start your car. When the engine's off, gravity pulls oil back down into the sump. If your filter doesn't have a proper anti-drainback valve, the oil inside the filter drains too, leaving dry lines and empty galleries. So the next time you turn the key, your engine runs completely dry for 2 or 3 seconds before oil pressure builds. That's when most of the damage happens. Microscopic metal-on-metal contact on bearings, cam lobes, and piston skirts. Now, here's where premium filters make all the difference. They use high-tension silicone anti-drainback valves that seal tightly even after thousands of heat cycles. That means when you start the car, the oil is already where it needs to be, ready to lubricate instantly. Cheaper filters often use nitrile rubber valves, which harden and shrink over time, letting oil drain away overnight. You can hear it, that brief ticking or rattling noise when your car starts cold. That's not age, that's oil delay. Filters like the WI-XXP Mobile One, Extended Performance, and Bosch Premium hold oil in place perfectly between starts. That's why engines using them sound smoother and last longer, even at high mileage. A small piece of silicone rubber might not seem important, but it's one of the most critical parts of your oil system, because in those first 2 seconds, there's no second chance. The right filter can mean the difference between smooth protection and silent wear that adds up every single morning. Do expensive filters really last longer? Here's where the price difference really starts to show. Because while most cheap oil filters can survive a few thousand miles, premium ones are engineered to go the distance, literally. Budget filters typically use cellulose paper media. It works, but it clogs fast. By around 3,000 to 5,000 miles, flow begins to drop, pressure rises, and your engine quietly switches into bypass mode. You'll never know it happened, but from that moment on, your engine is circulating unfiltered oil until your next change. Mid-tier filters, often a synthetic blend, can safely reach around 7,500 miles. But true premium filters, built with microglass or full synthetic media, can handle 15,000 miles or more without losing flow or efficiency. That's because synthetic fibers hold 2 to 3 times more debris before clogging and don't break down under high heat. Modern synthetic oils like Mobil, One Extended Performance and AmSoil Signature series are designed for long intervals, sometimes up to 15,000 miles. But they only stay effective if your filter can last that long too. A 2023 test by Automotive Research and Testing Labs found that after 10,000 miles, cheap filters had already dropped below 70% efficiency, while premium synthetic filters stayed above 98%. That's the difference between clean oil doing its job and dirty oil wearing down your engine from the inside. So yes, expensive filters do last longer, not because of price, but because of engineering. When your filter matches your oil's capabilities, your engine stays protected from start to finish, not just during the first few thousand miles. Expert opinions. What mechanics actually say. If you really want to know whether expensive filters are worth it, ask the people who see engines fail every day. Mechanics. Veteran technicians who've spent decades tearing down engines will all tell you the same thing. Oil problems aren't always caused by the oil. They're caused by poor filtration. As one retired GM Master Tech put it, every failed bearing I've ever replaced had one thing in common: a cheap oil filter or skipped oil change. And it's not just opinion. Mechanics who routinely cut open filters during services can tell a lot just by weight and construction. Lightweight filters almost always mean less filtration media, weaker internal supports, and thinner metal casings. Heavier filters tend to have metal end caps, reinforced center tubes, and synthetic media, all signs of durability. One ASE certified technician who tested over 100 filters summarized it perfectly. If your filter weighs less than half a pound, it's probably junk. There's also a hidden detail most drivers never hear about. Some of the best aftermarket filters, like WIXXP and Mobil One Extended Performance, are actually produced by the same OEM suppliers that build heavy-duty diesel filters for fleet and industrial engines. That's why many professional shops use them on everything from work trucks to performance cars. So, when an experienced mechanic recommends a premium filter, it's not upselling, it's experience talking. Because after thousands of oil changes and hundreds of engine rebuilds, one thing becomes obvious. You don't save money by gambling on filtration. You save money by never having to rebuild an engine in the first place. The counterfeit filter problem, the silent engine killer. Now, here's something most drivers don't realize. Not every brand name filter you buy online is real. Counterfeit oil filters have quietly become one of the biggest hidden threats to modern engines. They look identical to the real thing. Same box, same logo, same barcode. But when you cut them open, the truth is brutal. Fake filters use thin, low-grade metal casings that dent easily under pressure. Their internal valves are made of brittle plastic or cheap rubber that cracks after just a few heat cycles. Some don't even include a functioning bypass valve, meaning when the filter clogs, oil flow stops completely. Mechanics have reported counterfeit filters labeled as Bosch, Mobil One, and ACDELCO, complete with forged serial numbers. One teardown from a certified repair center found that a fake filter's base plate holes were off-center and unevenly drilled, restricting oil flow by nearly 30%. That kind of restriction is enough to destroy a turbocharger or spin a bearing in a matter of weeks. So, how do you protect yourself? First, check the weight. Real filters are noticeably heavier due to denser filter media and metal parts. Inspect the rubber gasket. Genuine filters have smooth, even edges, while fakes feel dry or rough. And always buy from verified retailers or trusted stores, never from third-party sellers with suspiciously low prices. A cheap counterfeit might save you $5 at checkout, but it can quietly cost you thousands in repairs. Because no matter what logo is printed on the box, if it's fake, it's not filtering, it's failing. Real-world cost breakdown. Cheap versus premium. Let's strip away the marketing and look at the math, because numbers never lie. Say you drive about 12,000 miles a year, changing your oil every 6,000 miles. That's 2 oil changes annually. If you use a bargain bin $6 filter, that's $12 a year. Step up to a premium $15 filter, and you're spending $30 a year. That's an $18 difference, less than a single tank of gas. Now, let's compare the risk. If that cheap filter collapses, clogs, or slips into bypass mode, it can start circulating unfiltered oil. That's what leads to scored bearings, damaged piston rings, and oil starvation. Repairs that easily run from $3,000 to $7,000. So that $18 savings could end up costing you more than your car's resale value. A senior engineer at Lubrizol Research summed it up best. An oil filter isn't a cost, it's an insurance policy. And the best policies don't cost much more. Even if you're on a budget, you can still make smart choices. Buy verified mid-tier or OEM filters, stick to proper oil change intervals, and avoid the temptation of mystery brand filters online. For the cost of a pizza, you're protecting the single most expensive part of your vehicle, the engine. So, when someone tells you oil filters are all the same, ask them this. Would you really risk your entire engine just to save $9 every few months? Because the math is simple. Cheap filters don't save money, they just delay the bill. What the pros use: mechanic-trusted filters. So, which oil filters do professionals actually trust? The ones they put on their own cars. Because while every brand claims premium performance, only a few consistently pass teardown tests and real-world abuse. Let's start with the WIXXP and WIX Platinum series, often considered the benchmark for heavy-duty use. They're built with metal end caps, microglass media, and reinforced pleats that hold strong under extreme pressure. Many mechanics who service diesel trucks or high-performance cars use them because they're essentially industrial-grade filters built for consumer vehicles. Then there's Mobil One Extended Performance, designed for long synthetic oil intervals up to 15,000 miles. It uses 99% plus efficient synthetic media and a silicone anti-drainback valve that maintains flexibility through hundreds of heat cycles. Bosch Distance Plus filters focus on flow rate, making them ideal for engines that run higher, RPMs, or turbochargers. They balance low restriction with high dirt holding capacity, something cheaper filters rarely achieve. For performance enthusiasts, K and N Performance Gold filters are known for their high flow design and welded nut top, making removal easier during frequent oil changes. And if you want a perfect balance of price and quality, Purolator Boss is a reliable middle ground. 99% efficiency, excellent construction, and easy availability. These aren't marketing claims. They're backed by real lab data and mechanic experience. Meanwhile, budget lines like Fram Extra Guard, SuperTech, and no-name generics might work for short-term use, but they simply can't handle high heat or extended intervals. Professional mechanics don't pick filters for the label. They pick them for what's inside. Because when your reputation depends on keeping engines alive, you only trust what's been proven to survive. What type of owner are you? Here's the question that separates car owners from car caretakers. Are you the kind of person who treats your vehicle like transportation or an investment? Because every choice you make, even something as small as a $5 oil filter, tells your engine exactly how much you value it. People who choose quality filters don't do it for bragging rights or brand loyalty. They do it because they understand one simple truth. Preventive maintenance isn't about luxury, it's about longevity. If you've ever owned a car that made it past 200,000 miles and still ran smooth, that wasn't luck. That was consistency. Clean oil, good filters, and smart habits repeated over time. Cheap filters might save you a few dollars today, but they cost you years of engine life tomorrow. Premium filters aren't hype. They're built with better materials, tighter tolerances, and stronger valves that protect when it matters most. And remember, your oil change is only as good as the filter you use. You can pour in the finest synthetic oil money can buy, but if your filter can't keep up, you're just circulating clean oil through a dirty gatekeeper. So, here's your challenge. The next time you change your oil, look at what's on your car. Ask yourself, am I protecting my engine or just maintaining it? If you learned something new today, hit subscribe and drop a comment below. Do you run Team Cheap or Team Premium? Let's see which side wins. Because at the end of the day, good engines don't die, they're just filtered badly. The bottom line, the filter that decides your engine's future. At the end of the day, every engine tells a story, and your oil filter decides how long that story lasts. Engines don't usually die in explosions or spectacular failures. They fade away quietly, worn down by thousands of tiny particles that should have been trapped but weren't. That's why understanding filters isn't just for mechanics. It's for anyone who plans to keep their car running smooth, quiet, and strong for years to come. Because when you think about it, an oil filter is the cheapest line of defense in the most expensive part of your car. It's a few inches of metal and media standing between precision-engineered components spinning at thousands of revolutions per minute, and the microscopic grit that can destroy them. And yet, most people spend more time picking windshield wipers than choosing the right filter. It's time to change that. Whether you drive a daily commuter, a work truck, or a performance build, treat your oil system like the lifeline it is. Buy smart, buy verified, and never assume good enough is good enough for something that keeps your entire engine alive. Because when your filter does its job, you'll never notice. But when it fails, you'll notice forever. If this breakdown helped you understand what's really protecting your car, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. I post weekly deep dives on the hidden parts that keep engines running, the ones most people overlook until it's too late. Your car has one heart, keep its blood clean, and it'll outlive everything else.